materials are accepted. Go to recyclerightTN.com.
Recycle Right Tennessee.
Think the customers know I raise these eggs myself?
They do now. That hen's been louder than your radio.
50 years of local flavor. The Farmers Market, Tuesday and Friday, 7 to 1.
Only at a producer-only market can you meet the hens behind the eggs.
Lane Agro Park in Murfreesboro.
From driveways to highways, SRM Concrete has the right mix, on time, every time. Locally grown, nationally known, family owned and operated. SRM is the name you trust. SRM Concrete, you call, we haul.
A look at the news, views, politics, sports, and people that are shaping Rutherford County. Listen each weekday morning at 9 o'clock for the Roundtable here on News Radio WGNS. What's up for your...
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning. Don't you just enjoy the season of the year? You know, we enjoy it even more because we contrast it with getting over the summer and before the cold and the wet of the winter. We are very, very fortunate this morning to have a gentleman who certainly is a model of inspiration for the political process, and certainly a gentleman that represents this county and our communities with an extraordinary commitment, passion, and dedication. It's my personal and professional pleasure to share with you, introduce you to our state senator, Shane Reeves. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Bill. What a warm, kind introduction, and I also love this time of year. There's nothing I love more than a fire pit in this cool weather.
And anticipation of Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Absolutely.
Give us a little background. I'm sure a lot of folks in Rutherford County certainly know of you, know of your, quote, commitment and your professional background. But you are from a very, very long-time family. Kind of give us the family history and where you went to school and how you went into pharmacy, etc.
Sure, I'd be happy to. And thanks for having me on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Enjoy. With the growth, you know, there's 80,000 people a year moving to Tennessee. I feel about 10,000 of them are coming to Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. So even though I have been here a long time, as well as my family, it's routine that I walk into restaurants and go places nowadays and don't know a soul.
Right.
Just because of the growth. The Reeveses moved to Murfreesboro and moved to Rutherford County in 1780.
Wow.
1780. I'm a 7th generation Rutherford Countyan. My great-great-great-great-grandfather moved here in 1780, named one of his first daughters Tennessee Reeves.
Wow.
In honor of the new state that was going to be founded in 1796.
That is phenomenal.
So deep roots. My grandmother lived right down the road here on Main Street. I'm a 4th generation independent pharmacist. My father was a pharmacist who got into pharmacy through his uncle Herbert Smith, who got into pharmacy through his father A.L. Smith, who had a pharmacy Liberty Bill right here around the square where Henry's Florist was.
That's amazing.
So for A.L. Smith for many, many years, and Herbert, they worked on the square as a pharmacist for many years and got my dad into it. So my family's been in pharmacy since 1900. So I'm a 4th generation independent pharmacist as well.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Oakland High School here locally. I went to Middle Tennessee State University undergrad. At that point, I decided I wanted to go to pharmacy school, and I went to the University of Tennessee in Memphis to the College of Pharmacy, and graduated there in 1994. When I graduated pharmacy school, there was 1 pharmacy school in the state, and nowadays there's 6. So the profession's grown as well, but long time, and just love Murfreesboro, love Rutherford County. It's been exciting to see all the growth over the years and all the new things going on here.
Did you were you part of the operation of a pharmacy over those years?
Absolutely, I was.
Where was that located?
Sure. So most people in town it would know Reeves Sane Drugstore. My former business partner and I, when I graduated pharmacy school in 1994, my former business partner was a guy named Rick Sane, and we became partners in 1994, and we stayed in Reeves Sane Drugstore for 20 years together.
Wow,
20 years as
fantastic.
partners, and did just a little bit of everything along the way: traditional retail pharmacy, soda shop, compounding. We got into medical equipment and respiratory. We packaged medications for nursing homes, and we did IV therapy. Bill, we did everything you can possibly imagine. Then my former partner and I sold that retail drugstore in 2015, and I've gone and started a new company called 12 Stone. For people that are listening to this, Rick Sane, my former partner, reopened that Reeves Sane drugstore in the last few years. I'm not involved with it, but he's reopened it. But nowadays,
Kept the same name?
Kept the same name, Reeves Sane. He called me and said, I want to reopen the store and continue to call it Reeves Sane. And I said, well, Rick, you know I've run for office since then.
Yes.
And he said, absolutely. So he's reopened it as Reeves Sane, a lot of the same look and feel. And they're doing well there. But I opened up a company in 2015 called 12 Stone Health Partners. And that's here in Rutherford County. And it's a business that specifically focuses on IV therapies, infusion therapy for people with chronic, complex, and rare diseases. So Crohn's disease, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Lou Gehrig's disease, these chronic conditions you're probably not ever going to get healed from. And people come in once a month to get an IV. And so I've started that company here, and we've expanded it to multiple areas. So that's what I've done now for the last 10 years. It's been a lot of fun.
Wow. And the service you're doing for so many people from that standpoint is phenomenal. And your family? Talk about your family for a moment.
Well, I'll start with my immediate family. I've been blessed to be married to Amanda. Got married in 1996, be 30 years next year.
Congratulations.
Be 29 years here in a few weeks. God gave us 3 very different children.
Yep.
And I have an older son named Will, who currently lives in Houston, Texas. He got married and moved to Houston, Texas with a job there. I have a middle son named Jack, he's my colorful child who loves music, and he's kind of done college a few times. He is currently, believe it or not, today in Germany.
Wow.
He's working there in Germany for a short little stint doing some fun things. Then I have one little girl at home who gets everything she wants.
Yep. Daddy's girl.
Named Emma White, who still lives here in town and she's a senior in high school. And that's the 3 of us. And so our nest isn't quite empty yet as a family, but
I have to tell you,
they
never do.
Left.
They never do. Grandchildren have a way of coming back too.
But as I mentioned, my family though has been here a long time. My father's still living.
Bless his
he's 83, be 84 here in a few weeks. He's Richard Reeves, and was mayor here.
Okay.
For a number of years, was mayor here, was on the city council here for a lot of years. So I kind of grew up with a dad that was involved in public service, and he's still alive and kicking, keeps moving.
Great, absolutely. And you are in your 2nd term.
I am.
And one of the most prominent representations you have this county is your chair of.
That's right. That's new. I'm currently the chair of energy, agriculture, and natural resources.
Wow.
It's a large committee. I originally got elected, Bill, in a special election. So it was in 2017. The former senator that was in this chair or in this seat was a guy named Jim Tracy. And he had been serving for a number of years. He got offered an opportunity to go work at the time in 2017 in the Trump administration. So his seat became available. And he came and met with me and said, would you like to run for this office? I'd never run for office before, but I did have a heart for public service. So I talked to my wife about it and talked to my business partners about it, talked to my dad about it, and decided to run. So I ran for Senate in the fall of 2017 in a special election.
Correct.
So nothing was on the ballot but me. It was the 14th district. So that was, at the time, that was Rutherford County, Bedford County, Moore County, Marshall County, and Lincoln County.
Wow.
So a lot of people didn't know me down in Marshall and Lincoln County, in Moore County's Lynchburg.
Yes.
So
and home of Motlow's
that's exactly
headquarters.
And,
Yep.
and Jack Daniels.
And Jack Daniels.
That's the two big
We never
things.
quite mixed the two together, but actually Motlow just recently opened up a program to teach people to be winery folks.
I carried that bill.
Oh, did you really?
I carried that bill to just learn distilling there
Yes.
at Motlow, which is a big business in Tennessee.
Oh,
Not
absolutely.
just Jack, but it's a big business just distilling across the state. But I got elected in a special election in a primary and a general in March of 2018. And then what a lot of people don't know is, I'm a part-time legislator. I'm a citizen legislator.
Yes.
I'm not like him in Washington. We are only in Nashville for 4 months. Wow. From January to April every year, this state house and the state senate are in Nashville, and we're working for 4 months. And then the rest of the year, we all go back and work in our jobs. So when I got elected, it was March of 2018. And by the time I honestly got to Nashville, met a few people and found the bathrooms,
Yes.
the session was over. And I came back home in the summer of 2018. I had to run, because it was a special election, again in 2020, which we all know was COVID.
Yes, right in the middle.
So it's impossible to run
And a
for
presidential election.
That's exactly right. It was an impossible task to run for office in the middle of COVID because you just hardly can't get out and meet people. But I was fortunate enough to get reelected then in 2020, and I just got elected to a third term in 2024 last year to serve my third term. So I'm in my very first year of my third term. It's been a real blessing.
Well, it's quite an honor, even still relatively short timer, is to be named chair of one of the most significant committees within the legislature.
Thank you for that.
Great amount of responsibility, great amount of effort to be a major influencer in the future of the state.
Thank you for that. The way it works, and I assume not everybody knows this in your listening audience, but most of the real work legislatively that happens in the state of Tennessee or in any state house throughout the country are done in committees.
Yes.
And the Senate has 9 working committees, everything from education to judiciary to transportation to my community, energy and agriculture. So when you first get elected to office, the leadership will put you into committees. So I'm currently on 3 committees.
Wow.
Okay?
What are the other 2?
I'm on the health committee because, like I said, I'm a pharmacist by trade.
Sure.
My background is in health, and so the health committee looks at all things doctors and dentists and hospitals and nursing homes and all things health. I'm also on the Commerce Committee,
which is the business
You got it.
lifeblood.
Business, banking, insurance, workforce, labor, all rolls through that. And then from the very beginning, I have been on the Energy, Agriculture, and Natural Resources Committee primarily, not because of my background, but because my district still has quite a bit of ag in it.
Yep.
You go to Bedford County, what's happening there in the poultry community, and the horses, obviously the horse community, where you already talked about Jack Daniels, so the whole whiskey community is kind of considered to be ag. Marshall County was big in dairy products. Lincoln County was cotton. And Rutherford still has a lot of ag here. We really do. So they put me on that committee, and over time, over the last number of years, as positions have become available, this last session, January, a few months ago, the lieutenant governor pulled me into the office and said, Reeves, I have decided I'd like for you to be the chairman moving forward of our Energy, Agriculture, and Natural Resources
Both an honor
Committee.
as well as a deep appreciation of who and what you are.
And I thank you for that. And I know we talk about agriculture as far as this committee, but for energy, the energy component of this has been fascinating. And what is going on in the state of Tennessee currently to just address our energy needs. TVA is a massive organization that takes care of 10 million homes. Oak Ridge, I took my very first tour of Oak Ridge a few weeks ago.
Okay.
Everybody there's smarter than me, Bill.
Well, the history is deep, too.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It's an unbelievably impressive place, and what they're doing for supercomputers and artificial intelligence and nuclear energy is just fascinating. So the amount of money the state of Tennessee is investing in nuclear energy for the future to power the state is remarkable. So even though my committee is energy, agriculture, and natural resources, the energy component of it's getting more and more attention. Even though ag is still the largest largest current industry in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
The ag is still the largest.
People don't realize they were one of the top producers of beef.
That's exactly
the cattle industry. You think of Texas, you think of Oklahoma, maybe the Dakotas, but you don't think of Tennessee as being a major cattle producer.
I'll tell you, my friends in the ag community statewide at this point will tell you, farming is hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard, specifically the whole row crops. If you're growing corn or beans or soybeans, or the whole row crop industry is challenged. Cotton, those who are in pork and poultry are kind of making it. The only ones I'm really seeing nowadays that seem to be doing well are beef cattle.
Wow.
There are no dairy cattle
No.
anymore left in the state of Tennessee. Very, very, very few. But the beef cattle component to it is still very successful.
We like our steak,
and it's doing very well, but doing good. But it's been fun. It really has been.
Exactly. Well, would you say from that vantage point of agriculture, has this whole current discussion on the tariffs, specifically the issue with China, have a direct impact on our producers in Tennessee?
I think they're very concerned about it right now. As I mentioned, the state of Tennessee, and I may not get my math exactly right on this, but it's Tennessee farmers are looking like at a $400 million loss this year. And that's a huge concern. The state of Tennessee does provide some type of grants and programs to support that. The federal government always has a farm bill that also tries to step in and support some of it. And I feel pretty confident from what I've heard lately that the president is going to try to step in and mitigate some of those areas. But I think they are concerned. But let me say something I doubt many people know. Tennessee is currently losing, and this has nothing to do with the tariffs.
Sure.
Tennessee is currently losing 10 acres of farmland an hour.
An hour on new development, or
there's three things going on. One is many of the farmers statewide are aging out, and their kids don't want to do it. It's a lifestyle.
Oh, yes.
The second reason has to do with just purely margins. You've got to make money. You're not going to work that hard and not make money. So if you can't turn the product and turn the crops and get a return, they don't stay into it. But the third reason is their land is worth so much money. You take Rutherford County.
Oh, sure.
Some of these farmers can sell their land for what they can make farming in 100 years. So you couple those three things together, and we're losing 10 acres of farmland an hour. So the tariff component of it clearly is not making things easier for any of them. But who knows? We could look up here in 10 years from now, and there's a day coming in the future where farming is no longer our number one industry, and it's going to be passed by healthcare or tourism or automotive or something else. And that's sad for our state,
It is.
which is such a beautiful agriculture.
Plus, have you experienced from your vantage point how many farms are now becoming corporate farms rather than family farms?
Or just agribusiness.
Right. Sounds like a great term.
Well, you turn them into some type of farm where they can actually, maybe they're doing weddings, or perhaps they're doing, this time of year, you'll see the corn mazes and the pumpkin farms,
Yes.
or the auctions of different, where they have people could come in and have, where they're selling things on the property. But they're simply taking the land, which is worth so much money, and trying to find other ways to make a living because they can't do it growing corn.
Right. How does this impact, then, from the other standpoint of your committee, the forestry world, breeding, if you may, trees?
Ironically, timber is a huge business in Tennessee.
Exactly.
I mean, it's one of the biggest industries in our entire state. About a month ago, this is one of the advantages of being a chair. They invite you to come see all these things. About a month ago, I was invited to go to a really large timber farm over in Lewis County. They took me to the farm and they showed me this amazing equipment on how they clear the land nowadays. It's not people out there with axes cutting it down nowadays. It's these large machines that come in and cut the trees. They strip the branches. They cut them the exact same length, and they stack them. These giant machines. They clear 3 acres of land a day with one man on a piece of equipment.
Wow. Compared to what that was
how many years ago?
50 years ago.
But the timber in Tennessee has a component of it. Then you've got quite a bit of it that's still owned by private farmers. The majority of it is still owned by large commercial entities like big paper companies like
Weyerhaeuser.
I'm trying to think of the big group here. International Paper's a big group that's here locally. They own large farms here in the state, but timber is enormous in the state, and we need to continue to protect that too. It's beautiful.
Now, I can recall from my days in California and certainly observing Oregon and Washington, when a tree was cut down, it was automatically replaced by 3 trees, if I remember the ratio in the Northwest. Do we have a replenishment program on take a tree down, replenish it?
Immediately. That's handled by the Forestry Association as well, and by the state that handles that. As trees get cleared, they immediately put the seedlings or the trees in the ground and they grow it, and it takes a number of years to replace it, but it's a constant process. Another thing I did not know till I took this tour is the state of Tennessee and the Department of Forestry, one of their main jobs is controlling fires. Not just fires on their lands, private fires, public fires across the state. They manage 1,000 fires a year.
Wow.
Everything from a small little campfire that might happen in a local person's private farm to the role they played in the Gatlinburg fires a couple of years ago, which they were sharing with me. A rain came in, a significant storm came in right when that fire was raging, and they said if that storm and that rain had not come in and God had not been there, he said they'd have lost Gatlinburg.
Yeah, totally.
They said it about burned Dollywood. It was going to burn everything down at that time. But that is an impressive group of people that manage Tennessee Forest.
And now let's also talk about energy in another way. We're not actually producing oil, but we produce alternative energy. I'm amazed, and I guess this is my own perspective, how the price of gas will vary from county to county dramatically. I live in Williamson County, and I will not buy gas there because all I do is come into Rutherford County, and I'm filling up for 35 cents a gallon less. Do you have any idea why there's such a variation?
That's probably I would say a lot of it's just probably truly driven by the market.
Okay.
It's a commodity.
Sure.
And they buy this gas and then they sell it based on what the market demands and makes it work. You know, Tennessee pays cash for all of its roads. We have no debt on our roads, and that's paid for through our gas tax.
Wow.
So statewide, everybody who's at all these pumps, the money that comes in at the pumps on the gas statewide pays cash for our roads. We just made a $3 billion investment in Tennessee roads last year, and it's a 10-year master plan, and one of the biggest components of that is from Murfreesboro to Nashville. It's one of the first things they're putting money on is expanding and improving the road from Murfreesboro to Nashville, which I can assure you from somebody who drives from Murfreesboro to Nashville for the first 4 months of the year, it's the worst part of the job.
Now, how many people realize that because on the one hand you have a significant increase in traffic, but you have cars on the road today whose gas mileage is dramatically better than previous generations, so you have more cars, therefore producing less per capita gas tax because of the efficiency of the vehicle.
That's it.
The role of electric vehicles or hybrids, does that have an impact on gas tax?
It's an active discussion in Nashville. And as I mentioned, there are multiple committees, and Senator Becky Massey, she's a chairman of that committee, and she's out of Knoxville, and she chairs that committee. And that specific topic is actively being debated as we move to not just pure electric like Tesla, but move to an environment where you have these hybrid vehicles. Toyota's making them, Honda's making them, Nissan's in the process of creating more hybrids.
Yes.
And you've got vehicles that you can fill up with gas and they get 700 miles
Wow.
per in the tank. It's just going to be more and more difficult to generate money from gas tax to pay for the roads on the state. So that's a big issue down the road we'll have to address.
Absolutely. And also, and this could be very controversial, you're talking with someone who lived through it in California, the toll road potential from Murfreesboro to Nashville.
Sure.
You know, you buy your pass for the lane.
That's right.
Have you capped yet with the TDOT if you put an additional lane or two in the median to provide this program, if that capacity was included in the entire capacity of the existing interstate, would that respond to the problem, or by allowing people to pay to have that wonderful freedom of driving 80 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour?
So the roads that are going to be sent back and forth from Murfreesboro to Nashville are going to be called choice lanes. So number one, you don't have to use them.
Yes.
They will be laying alongside the normal roads that already go to Nashville. If you happen to be going to Nashville, and if you're a little bit more of a hurry and you want to get there quicker, you have the option to get on the choice lanes and go there faster, and you will have some type of card or pass or something to do it. If you don't want to pay that, you can stay on the regular roads. So it's not a forced toll. So if you get on the road, it's going to cost money like a toll, but it's not a forced toll. You truly have the option to make that work. One of the beautiful things about that, though, is that it's being developed privately. Tennessee has a role in this, but a lot of this is being completely developed with private companies coming in to save taxpayer dollars, and they also will handle a lot of getting reimbursed by the money they collect on these toll or convenience lanes moving forward. But it's the worst part of the job for me, to be honest.
Absolutely.
That drive back and forth to Nashville in the mornings at 7 o'clock and at home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I mean, I lose about half my, I estimate 12 to 15 hours a week I'm on the road just going back and forth during that time, which just part of the job.
But you know, the interesting thing about that, and I commute into Rutherford County for teaching, and I will tell you that I have to plan on leaving 15 to 20 minutes earlier than the norm, not necessarily to assure getting to class on time, but more importantly, to have my mindset not in anguish and stress, but in pleasantries and enjoyment. So if I'm coming over the hill from Williamson County and I have ample time, I walk into the classroom very happy, very positive, very enthusiastic. If I'm crossing the hill and I'm behind a 20-mile-an-hour driver, just enjoying the scenery, and I'm making it right to the last 60 seconds before class begins, my whole way of doing is quite differently. So your mood influenced by commuting has got to be impacted.
And the thing is, and don't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no.
The thing is, it's the unknown.
Exactly.
I mean, I can leave my house here in the middle of town at 6:30 in the morning, and if things just happen to be going right, I can get to the state capitol in about 45 minutes. If they don't go right, it takes me 2 hours.
Absolutely.
So that's the challenging component, is when you're trying to plan from a schedule. If I've got a meeting in Nashville at 8, I can't take the chance.
Nope. And you really, really don't have a viable alternative.
No, there's not.
You know, I'm trying to think. I did that once. I think 3 days later I got to my destination.
Unless you want, and I don't want to live in Nashville. I mean,
Absolutely.
I want to be home with my family at night, so I try my best to stay down there as little as I can.
We'll be right back after these words. We're having a delightful visit with a gentleman that I just personally had the pleasure of meeting shortly before the program. And I make quick impressions, or people make quick impressions on me. And I've got to tell you, this is one gentleman who we need him as a role model for the elected official at all levels of government. Hopefully that future will be even expanded in the world of Senator Reeves. Shane Reeves will be right back with some more conversation that I hope, like me, you're all thoroughly enjoying.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Choosing the right insurance can be overwhelming. That's where Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance comes in. At Rayburn, we're not just about policies, we're about people. Rick Hall will take the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage at the best price. We've been serving our community since 1973. So why not let Rick Hall take the stress out of insurance? Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency, where you're more than just a policy number. You're our neighbors.
Sign-ups are going on right now for First Shot's Winter Basketball League in Rutherford County. Coach Andy Herzer guides kids to sharpen basketball skills and build teamwork through exciting clinics and games. Since 2003, First Shot has empowered youth to grow in mind, spirit, and body. Don't miss out. Join the fun and develop lifelong skills. Visit firstshottn.org today and register for the Winter Basketball League. That's firstshottn.org.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by America Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Let's check those WGNS Good Neighbor events. The Walk to End Alzheimer's gets underway this Saturday morning with the registration at 8 o'clock at MTSU's Dean Hayes Track and Soccer Stadium. Farm fresh produce from area farmers every Tuesday and Friday from 7 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. That's at the Lane Agri Park. And their 50th anniversary celebration continues through the end of this month. And the Bell Buckle Main Street and Webb School Arts and Crafts Show is this Saturday and Sunday in Bell Buckle. Do you want to be a volunteer at Greenhouse Ministries? There's a volunteer orientation session every Thursday morning at 10, as well as at noon on the last Saturday of each month. That's at Greenhouse Ministries. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS and let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see sunny skies here for this afternoon, a high around 80 degrees. For tonight, mostly clear, low near 51. Friday, increasing clouds, a high of 82. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center.
Currently, it's 59.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. MTE's EV Ready program provides members with $50 in bill credits toward the installation of wiring to support 240-volt charging in their garages. Learn more at driveev.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Kraus back, second round of WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition, with a delightful and most interesting visit by our state senator serving not only Rutherford County, but the general area in and around Rutherford County, a gentleman who has moved quite up in the state legislature in his 7 years of service. Senator Shane Reeves. You know, when I ever think of the name Reeves, I think of the late country singer Jim Reeves.
Okay.
Any relationship?
No, not that I know of. I actually get people asking me more about Christopher Reeve.
Oh, Superman.
But that was a Reeve. He didn't have an S on it.
Okay.
But I get asked, or Keanu Reeves, the Matrix. I get asked about those two guys, but not about Jim
Reeves.
Yeah,
you know, I always think of Jim Reeves because every time I drive by the intersection of Old Hickory and Franklin Road, which is the border between Brentwood and Oak Hill, he had crashed in 1964 right above the northeast quadrant of the corner, and they didn't find the plane for 3 days because of the foliation and so forth. So I always, when I pass that intersection, Jim Reeves was a major contributor to the country sound in the United States. Let's turn the topic a little bit because I think you would be a tremendous inspiration to young men and young women who probably in their own minds consider politics, the political life, elected, staff-wise, professional-wise. What would you tell a young man or young woman why the world of politics, despite the negatives, is so enthusiastically encouraging.
So as I mentioned earlier, I'm a pharmacist by trade. So for years and years, and still to this day, I have young people talk to me about entering pharmacy. But since being involved in politics over the last 6 or 7 years, I have a number of families and young people who say, my daughter, my son would like to get involved in politics some way. What does that look like? So I get asked that quite often. Excuse me. And I tell them this. There may be more, Bill, but from what I can best tell, there's 4 ways you can make a living in politics, okay? One is you can choose to run for office. It's hard to make a living, especially at the state level or city level, just doing that, but you can choose to run for office, number one. Number two, you can actually go work for an elected official. You can go work in the executive branch, go work in the House or the Senate at a state level or federal. So you can go work for an elected official or one of the departments, Department of Health, Department of Children's Services. The third way you can make a living is lobbying. You can go and try to get a job through that and lobby and move forward. Or the fourth thing is you can truly work in political campaigns, which is still big business nowadays in helping people to get elected. But to fully answer your question, if you have somebody a young person who was just saying, I want to run for office, trying to encourage them to run for office, the advice I normally give any young person is this. And my dad gave me this advice when I was young. Probably the best thing you can do is to spend some time making your way in the private sector first. There's so much value in that. Spend some time, get your education, get married, get a job, join a church, get involved in the Rotary Club. Spend some time just developing your own skill sets in the private sector first, and you'll be a far better public servant. And I don't know what that looks like for different young people, but I find I didn't run for office till I was 50, and I'm a better state senator at 50 than I would have been at 35, for sure, along the way. So my first advice to young people, spend some time in the private sector. Just don't jump right into it when you're 22 years old.
Exactly.
That's one thing. The second,
I have to interrupt for a second.
Sure.
When you said a parent will come to you and say, how can my young man or young daughter get involved? The answer I've given them many a time, why don't the two of you volunteer to work on a campaign?
Sure.
And why don't the two of you see the excitement and the enthusiastic atmosphere and environment if you're winning
That's right.
on a campaign? And why don't the two of you make it a parent-child relationship to at least get your feet in the water and see what makes the politic tick? It's a fundamental core of American democracy. And volunteer first, and the bug will bite you.
That's right. Running for office is hard.
Yes, it is.
I tell people that are considering getting involved with it, it's a whole lot more than going up here to the Rutherford County Election Commission, picking up papers and saying, I think I'd like to run for city council. It is hard work. And if you're going to get elected to any office nowadays, you've got to raise money.
Yes.
You've got to get serious about what issues you want to take a stand on. You got to develop a team. And you absolutely just got to put in the time to work it and to build your name and your brand and to walk into those restaurants and shake those hands and to go to the local events here locally and hand out the cards and work it. And it's incredibly challenging work to get elected in the first place.
Sure.
So you got to be committed to doing that.
Well, the question is, and most people think, wow, 350,000 people in Rutherford County just to run for the county commission. Wow, that's a lot of people. But break it down, especially when you had your special election first time around. Actually, what people do you target? The propensity to vote people, those that show up every time to vote. And those lists are available through your county clerk, etc. So when you narrow down the number of people to target as voters, whether it's city council, whether it's state office and so forth, you're talking about a lot less people to reach out to.
The way the terms we use in the political world are 4 of 4s, 3 of 4s, and 2 of 4s. And what I mean by that is if you're a 4 of 4, you're a person that has voted in the last 4 out of the last 4 elections. More than likely, you're going to vote again.
Exactly.
And so those people, absolutely, you need to touch. You need to touch them through the mail. You need to touch their door. You need to touch them.
And they normally will multiply by 2, maybe 3.
That's exactly
right. Husband, wife, child, husband, wife, mother-in-law.
Then you've got the 3 of 4 people that have voted in 3 of the last 4. You know, they might have been out of town during the last election cycle. That makes sense. One of the biggest challenges that I've had in a county like Rutherford, though, as I mentioned earlier in our conversation, is so many new people.
Oh, yes.
So many new people that are moving here. They don't know me or know my family. They probably, especially if they've just recently moved here, don't probably know a whole lot about the state of Tennessee government even. And so just touching the new people here when they get registered to vote is a big deal. Every single new voter that registers here gets a letter from me that's in my district.
Great.
And other members of the General Assembly do the same thing. They get a letter from me, and thousands of those letters go out every year in my district. Now, nowadays, I said this earlier when I first got elected, nowadays my new district is Rutherford County. I have Cannon County nowadays, which is Woodbury.
Sure.
Bedford County, which is Shelbyville, and Moore County, which is Lynchburg. So my current district is that. I don't have all of Rutherford County. I've got the eastern component part of it, and then Senator Dawn White has the rest of the county, and she just has Rutherford County in her district. She's a good one you need to have on your show as well.
I have extended the invitation. Haven't heard yet, but follow-up is always important.
She's a good one to have on here, and she is the current chairman of education in the state of Tennessee. So she's got a really, really big job as well, and is very, very thoughtful in her background.
Isn't that an amazing thing you just said? Is that how many committees are there in the Senate?
9.
9, and at least 2 of them are by local folks. And there's 95 counties in Tennessee. So that really is a tribute to the men and women that we elect in the county who have such high esteem by their colleagues.
It's a big deal. It really is.
It would be.
And
sure.
she just got appointed this last session as well. So she and I both took the chairman roles at the same time this last session. And, you know, there's 1 million public school kids in the state of Tennessee.
Yes.
So Senator White's got her hands full.
Well, it's kind of interesting, and we always get the director of schools for both Rutherford County, Jimmy Sullivan, and the Murfreesboro City Schools, Trey, who's just great. They're both great gentlemen. The challenges we have. I'm not sure whether the state of Tennessee is going to get involved with Rutherford County. They have a real funding challenge if those 6,000 homes are built west of Laverne in Antioch, and there were 6,000 homes planned. And when Jimmy Sullivan was on, not the last time, but the previous time, are they at their bonding capacity, and how do they provide 1 or 2 new high schools, 2 or 3 new middle schools, and 5 or 6 new elementary schools to serve a community that will be 6,000 homes?
You mentioned there's 95 counties in the state.
Yes.
I currently represent 4, but at one point in time I represented Marshall and Lincoln. So since my time of being in the Senate, I've represented 6 counties along the way. So I've kind of got a little bit of a feel of how different counties run. They all have their different histories, different traditions, different culture, different leadership. But I have come to believe that if a county is going to be successful, they have to get 5 things right. They got to get education. They got to have health care. You got to have some kind of public safety. You've got to have jobs to make it work, and then you've got to have infrastructure, those roads. You take, if a county has all 5 of those things working, they're growing. Rutherford is doing all those things right. So 10,000 people a year are moving here. That's what's happening. The flip side, I get asked real often about the growth here, and I said there are other counties that are going the opposite direction than we are, and they don't have the tax base, and they can't keep their hospitals open, and their school systems are struggling. They don't have the money for infrastructure, for roads, or for Wi-Fi or utilities. The jobs aren't coming in, and those counties would love to have Rutherford County's issues. They would love to have them.
Exactly.
So I would rather take our county's growth and the issues that are going on and try to be thoughtful in how we engineer the future here, and the city and the county and the state work together.
You know, it's interesting what you just said. As a former city manager, I always believe, how do I balance the word efficiency with effectiveness? And I always define effectiveness as doing well with people, and efficiency is doing well with money and things. Normally one would say maybe the 95 counties should go through a consolidation period to create units that are both effective and efficient, representation effectively and product-wise or service-wise efficiency. But we're not going to do that because we like our local representation.
Right.
On the other hand, is there an effort to develop what we would say is joint powers between several counties that they can pool their resources so that if you have law enforcement, you get these cell phone calls.
That's all right. When I speak to groups nowadays and I talk about the state and where it is, I'm convinced if Tennessee was being formed today as a state, we probably wouldn't have 95 counties.
No.
I mean, those counties were at the time, the way I understand it, was basically the amount of time it took you to travel on horseback from county seat to county seat. 95 counties. I think if we were developing the state today, we would have regions.
Mm-hmm.
We would approach the regions and how we manage utilities, and how we looked at healthcare, and how we looked at education, how we looked at health, just anything overall, infrastructure, how we would manage all those different pieces of it. So it's no question about it. There's an opportunity. There's a real opportunities for cities and counties to collaborate regionally moving forward.
Well, you begin to wonder, even the federal government, much of the federal government, when it's open and working, when the federal government really administers a 12-region system, that most departments are divided the country into 12 regions.
Right.
Housing and urban development, for example, rather than 50 states. But, talk about anybody saying, should we consolidate 50 states? You have another appointment, and I want to certainly honor that time. We totally appreciate your being here this morning, taking the time out of your busy schedule. I'd like to have you come back every so often and we have another morning chat.
Please invite me again, and I'm thankful if you have me. I'm thankful for the whole team up here at the station. Thankful for Brian, and thankful for Bart Walker and Scott and all the good work at WGNS, as they are a gem in Murfreesboro and Rutherford County.
I consider them not only the natural resources of Tennessee, but the human resources of Tennessee. Thank you very much.
Bless you. Thank you.
We appreciate you. Keep up the super work.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator.
For 75 years, Murfreesboro Medical Clinic has been a cornerstone of health and compassion in our community. From our humble beginnings to the advanced, comprehensive care we offer today, our commitment to you has never wavered. With 8 locations across Murfreesboro and Middle Tennessee and over 100 physicians, we continue to provide the highest standard of care. Then, now, and always, your health is our mission.
Hey, Rutherford County sports fans, from auto, home, renters, business insurance, and more, trust your local State Farm agents. Celeste Middleton, Ron Reeves, Emerson Williams, Alex Williams, Dana Womack, and Andy Womack. This powerful team lives here, works here, and are your neighbors. They're ready to help you manage everyday risk, recover from the unexpected, and realize your dreams. Contact Celeste, Ron, Emerson, Alex, Dana, or Andy for all of your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
What's the location of your emergency? I think my kid OD'd.
Hi, I'm Craig Harris. I'm County Commissioner of Rutherford County. One of the reasons I ran for office is because I wanted to bring awareness to the opioid epidemic that's impacting our county. To stop providing this epidemic with people as we educate them. We have a lot to do, and we have to come together as a community because this problem's not going away.
Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
I'm on Deadman's Bend at midnight when my gas light pops on. I see a gas station ahead. Just my luck. Or is it? I walk in. The attendant lifts a bony finger towards me and croaks, "You want a Halloween jumbo bucks?" I whisper it terrified, "No." And as I leave, he asks the lady behind me. She says, "Okay." And then,
she won $75,000.
Scare up some cash with the Halloween Jumbo Bucks Instant Game, only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing, hair-raising fun. Please play responsibly.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Kraus, third and final round of the Thursday morning edition of the WGNS Radio Roundtable. We just had the pleasure of visiting with Senator Shane Reeves. He had to leave early for a meeting because he had a 10 o'clock meeting. Thank goodness it was close because he would not have had to face the commute from Murfreesboro to Nashville. But this was, as I said, the first time I had the opportunity to meet Senator Reeves. Many of you know him and have known him for years, both as your state senator and for many years before as your happy local friendly pharmacist. But as Shane and he said to call him Shane, as Shane was here, I kept thinking he is a poster boy for the quality and the commitment and the responsiveness that we see needed in our political office holders. Not talking Democrat, not talking Republican, not even talking independent, but how do we encourage men and women to get involved in the political process? Yes, it's noisy. Yes, it's nervous. You know, the one question I was going to ask him if time permitted, and it's probably one of the most difficult questions to ask somebody in holding elective office. And if Senator Reeves was running for re-election or running for another office, and it turned out to be one of those nasty, nasty, nasty campaigns where there is hate, quite frankly, expressed on, quote, television, radio, in the mails, on social media against candidates, how does an elected official or a prospective elected official deal with the hate directed to them? Usually an elected official has a very, very supportive spouse who stands with them through thick and thin. And that's always a question, you know, does your spouse stand with you thick and thin? And they usually do. But here's that 800-pound elephant in the room in terms of political campaigning when it gets extraordinarily nasty. How do you deal with this with your children? Senator Reeves spoke about his two sons who are already established, living outside the area, but he still has a daughter at home in finishing up high school. And how do you deal with a child who has to deal with their father being literally crucified in the media or in the mailings by the opposition? And I'm not quite sure what the prescription would be to how to deal with that. My only fear, my primary fear with that, is would something like that keep some very qualified, excellent candidates who reached a more mature age, as Senator Reeves was talking about, an experience in the business world, for example, or the professional world before they decided to provide their contribution to the political life. It's one of those things that to get involved, get active. I can tell you, even from the staff point, even as the point of serving as city manager well over 25 years, I can tell you that I can go back to communities in Southern California, which I had the pleasure and opportunity to serve 30, 35 years later, and see the progress that we had talked about, we had argued about, we had legislated, we had coalition building to make sure it would become part of the community, and to see it still standing and alive 30 to 35 years later. That's one of the many payoffs of being in the public service. You see your progress, you see your efforts, you see your heart and tears that went into a particular project, very lasting. I can't begin to say, in especially these times, whether people are intense on their belief or on their arguments on both sides, if ever there was a time for many, many people to get involved in the political process, if you're living in a local community in Rutherford County or nearby counties, call City Hall, call Town Hall, ask if there are any volunteer positions that are open. City councils and mayors are always looking for volunteers to serve on commissions, Planning Commission, Park and Recreation Commission, any one of the advisory citizens programs. You get to know your community. You get to build friendships. I serve on the city commission in Brentwood, and it's an opportunity for me to work with 8 of my neighbors in Brentwood and get to know the community from the standpoint. The commission that I'm working on is the tree board. So my objective is to foliate Brentwood to the best of my ability. And a lot of people, you know, the more trees we have, the more beautiful and environmentally healthy and attractive the community becomes. So do get involved. Just a simple phone call to an elected official. You know, ask an elected official, can I be of help to you? I doubt that too many elected officials at the local and county and even state level will get a call from a citizen without an agenda, without a purpose of wanting to influence government, wants to really be involved. It's a simple call. The requirement is very little. Most commission meetings, committee meetings, maybe once a month. Some of them daytime, some of them evening, but it's once a month. And yet the results are phenomenal. And you get to know your community. I've said many a time with our guests on the Roundtable that Murfreesboro is a small town, still a small town. It just has many people in it. Smyrna is a small town, but yet has gone over the 50,000 mark. It has many people in it. Laverne, a small town, but yet it is a growing community. And that's true with many of our communities, both in and out of Rutherford County. They're small towns. The feeling, although as Senator Reeves pointed out, it used to be, I'm sure, for most of his life as a pharmacist here, that he could go anywhere and people would know him as their family pharmacist or operating the local drugstore. And that he had commented that he can go into a restaurant and facility today and not know anybody. But I would imagine from meeting him today that he doesn't go anywhere without being a friend immediately rather than a stranger. It's been a great opportunity to have our elected officials on the Roundtable as a chance to get to know them, a chance to get to know that they're human beings. They put on their pants the same way we do, that they deal with issues that are huge, issues that have an influence on our lives both today and our lives tomorrow. You heard Senator Reeves make the comment about agriculture. You know, losing 10 acres an hour in Tennessee of our farmlands and our production of agriculture product. That's an amazing statistic. Not always a good statistic, you know. Do we say we're a better county if we had a 50,000 square foot factory on a piece of land that used to be a crop land? They have advantages and they have disadvantages. This has been Bill Kraus on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, enjoying immensely visiting with you and sharing our guests with you. Looking forward to seeing you next Thursday morning, 9 a.m. WGNS Radio.
Subscribe to Big G TV, local content that matters to Rutherford County.